Beautiful Life
สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon and welcome to A Beautiful Life on englishonline.rmutp.ac.th. My name is อาจารย์เกษมพุทธเรืองศรี your host for the program. A Beautiful Life is a program broadcasted every Monday from 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Articles and information about life lessons or good phrases from the books or websites will be presented in this program together with the latest news from Rajamongkol University of Technology, Pranakon, for you to enjoy. And today we start with the article from China News Asia. They say how February 29 reminds us of our mysterious relationship with the time and space. 2024 is the leap year when the shortest month mops up a bit of leftover time, but the extra day also tells us about space and our place in it, said this Auckland University of Technology lecturer Omili O'Hara reported from Auckland. If you find it intriguing that February 28 will be followed this week by February 29 rather than March 1, as it usually is, spare a thought of those alive in 1582. Back then, Thursday, October 4 was followed by Friday, October 15. 10 whole days were snatched from the present when Pope Gregory issued a papal bull to restore the calendar from discrepancies that has crept into the calendar. Julian calendar, introduced by Julius Caesar in 45 BCE. The new Gregorian calendar returned the northern hemisphere's vernal equinox to its proper place around March 21. The equinox is when the Earth's axis is tilted neither toward nor away from the sun and is used to determine the date of Easter. The Julian calendar had observed a leap year every 4 years, but this meant time had drifted out of alignment with the date of celestial events and astronomical seasons. In the Gregorian calendar, leap years were added only to years that were multiple of 4, like 2024, with an exception for years that were evenly divisible by 100, but not 400, like 7, 7,000. Simply put, leap years exist because it doesn't take a neat 365 days for Earth to orbit the Sun. It takes 365.2422 days. Tracking the movement of celestial objects through space in an orderly pattern does not quite work, which is why we have February times great mob. Time and space. This is just part of the history of how February, the shortest month and originally the last month in the Roman calendar, came to have the job of absorbing those inconsistencies in the temporal calculations of the world's most commonly used calendar. There is plenty of science, math, and astrophysics explaining the relationship between time and the planet we live on. But Emily O'Hara said she liked to think leap years and dates offer something even more interesting to consider. Why do we have calendar anyway? And what have they got to do with how we understand the wonder and strangeness of our existence in the universe? Because calendars tell a story not just about time, but also about space. Our reckoning of time on Earth is through our special relationship to the sun, moon, and stars. Times and its place in our lives sits somewhere between the scientific, the celestial, and the spiritual. It is notoriously sleepily subjective and experiential. It is also marked, tracked, and determined in myriad ways across different cultures, from tropical to solar to lunar calendars. It is the sun that measures a day and gives us our first reference point of understanding time. But it is the moon, as a major celestial body, that extends our perception of time by stretching a span of day of one day into something longer. It offers us a chance for philosophical reflection. The sun, or its aspect, at least, is either present or not present. The moon, however, goes through phase of transformation. It appears and disappears, changing shape and hinting that one night is not exactly like the one before or after. The moon also has a distinct rhythm that can be tracked and understood as pattern, giving us another sense of duration. Time is just that overlapping durations, instants, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, lifetimes, centuries, ages. The elusive moon. It is almost impossible to imagine how time might feel in the absence of all the tools and gadgets we use to track, control, or corral it. But it's also hard to know what we might to do in the absence of time as a unit of productivity, a measurable, dispensable resource. The closest we might come is simply to imagine what life might feel like in the absence of the moon. Each day would rise and fall in the rhythm of its own. Sorry, but without visible reference to anything else, just isolated shifts of the light to dark. Nights would be almost completely dark without the light of the moon. Only stars at a much further distance would puncture the inky sky. The world around us would change. Trees would grow. Mammals would age and die. Land masses would shift and change. But all would happen in an endless cycle of sunrise to sunset. The light from the sun takes 8 minutes to reach Earth. So the sunlight we see is always 8 minutes in the past. Emily O'Hara remembers sitting outside when she first learned this and wondering what the temporal delay might be between her and other objects. The plum tree, trees at the end of the street, hills in the distance, light on the horizon when looking out over the ocean, stars in the night sky. Moonlight, for instance, take about 1.3 seconds to get to Earth. Light always travels in the same speed. It is entirely constant. The differing duration between how long it takes for sunlight or moonlight to reach Earth is determined by the space in between. Time, on the other hand, is anything but constant. There are countless ways we characterize it. The mere fact we have too many calendars and ways of describing perceptual time hints at our inability to pin it down. Calendars give us the impression we can and have made time predictable and understandable. Leap years, dates, and seconds serve as a periodic reminder that we haven't. Emily O'Hara is senior lecturer, spatial design and temporarily practices at Oakland University of Technology. This commentary first appeared in the conversation, so you can read more about this from China News Asia. Next, eating raw chicken. It's a game of food poisoning. Roulette. One US influencer is eating raw chicken as a challenge. People cannot always rely on the innate defense of the human body, says a microbiologist from the University of Leicester. Primrose Freestone reported from Leicester, England. John is an influencer from Florida who has gained not notoriety by eating raw chicken for at least 25 days. He uses a blender to grind up the uncooked chicken, wings, and breast with flavorings, raw eggs, and lettuce before drinking these chicken smoothies. Raw chicken and eggs have a significant infection rates from harmful bacteria such as Salmonella and Campylobacter, which can cause severe illness. Symptoms of food poisoning include fever, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and blood infections that, even in healthy people, can lead to hospitalization and death. So, why has John not fallen sick with food poisoning from such an unconventional and potentially deadly diet? John says that he has contracted doctors about the safety aspects of his raw chicken diet, which makes one wonder if po- prophylactics but antibiotics were advised to protect him from infection. Even if not, John, like all humans, has innate protective mechanism against food poisoning. The stomach has highly acidic fluids with a pH of 1.5 to 2. Food poisoning germs are sensitive to acid, which damage their DNA, and stomach acid can even kill them. In the stomach, germs also have a overcome other barriers such as digestive enzymes, entrapped mucus, and immune system defenses. The stomach empties after about 4 hours, so there is a good amount of time for the stomach acid to sanitize John's blended raw chicken, making chicken germs late able to establish an infection. You cannot always rely on innate defenses. However, even in healthy adults, if the number of bacteria is high, stomach acid and immune defenses may not be enough to reduce their number to a safe level. Our innate food poisoning defenses may work less effectively in young children, the elderly, pregnant women, and those with the those with an underlying health condition or a weakened immune system. Taking antacids regularly also increase food poisoning risks by neutralizing stomach acids. John usually blends his chicken, creating a wide surface area of stomach acid to attack. Also, the source of his chicken and food seasoning might help to protect him from infection. John says that he gets his chicken from a particular farm, so it's probably safe to assume the chicken is very fresh and from a flock that might have a lower incidence of salmonella and campylobacter than birds from a larger commercial source. Freshness is important as the number of harmful germs increase the older the meat is. If the chicken John is eating is very fresh and he's not consuming a lot of it, the number of germs may be too low to reach an infectious dose. Safety of raw meat impossible to guarantee. However, whatever the pedigree of the chicken, the safety of raw meat is not possible to guarantee, and what looks and smells fresh can still be dangerously germ laden. John told his followers that he used seasonings such as soy sauce and herbs to improve the lack of flavor of the raw chicken. It is known that soy sauce promotes digestion by enhancing stomach acid secretion in humans, which would help to kill any germs in the food. Soy sauce also possesses direct antimicrobial actively against bacteria such as Shigella flexneri, Staphylococcus aureus, Vibrio chlorella, Salmonella, Enter, Enteritidis, and Escherichia coli. Chili sauces also inhibit food poisoning bacteria, and many herbs contain antimicrobial compounds and have been used as preservative for centuries. Aromatic herbs such as thyme and potent inhibitors of germs growth, especially the kinds of germ found on poultry. A game of food poisoning roulette. We do not know what John is doing to protect his health while eating the raw chicken. But what is clear is what he is playing a game of food poisoning roulette. You cannot remove the bacteria in the raw chicken or indeed any raw meat. The only way to make the meat safe to eat is by cooking it. Heat effectively kills harmful germs and salmonella and campylobacter and neutralize at temperatures above 75 degrees Celsius. Cooking chicken correctly is the only way you can safely eat chicken and not risk potentially deadly food poisoning. Primrose Freestone is senior lecturer in clinical microbiology at the University of Lancaster. This commentary first appeared on The Conversation. And the last one from China News Asia, they say, will saying no to an invitation upset the person who invited you? People tend to assume others will react poorly when an invitation is declined. Two US marketing professors consider if This is really the case. Julian Givey and Colleen P. Kirk reported from Morgantown, West Virginia. Everyone has been there. You get invited to something that you absolutely do not want to attend: a holiday party, a family cookout, an expensive trip. But doubts and anxieties creep into your head as you wait whether to decline. You might wonder if you will upset the person who invited you. Maybe it will harm the friendship, or they won't attend an invite to the next get together. Should you just grit your teeth and go? Or are you worried more than you should about saying no? And imaginary fox pass, we explore, I mean, Julian Givey and Colin P. Kirk, they explore these questions in a recently published study, in a pilot study that they run ahead of the main studies. They found that 77% of their 55 respondents had accepted an invitation to an event that they did not want to attend, fearing blowback if they were to decline. They worried that saying no might upset, anger, or sadden the person who invited them. They also worried that they would not be invited to even down the road, and that their own invitations would be rebuffed. They then ran a series of studies in which they asked some people to imagine declining an invitation and then report their assumption how the person extending the invite would feel. They asked other participants to imagine that someone had declined invitation they had extended themselves. Then they asked them how they felt about the rejection. They ended up finding quite a mismatch. People tend to assume others will react poorly when an invitation isn't accepted, but they are relatively unaffected when someone turns down an invite they have extended. In fact, people extending invites were much more understanding and less upset, angry, or sad than invitees anticipated. They also said they would be rather unlikely to let a single decline invitation keep them from offering or accepting invitations in the future. They found that an asymmetry between people extending and receiving invites occurred regardless of whether it involves two friends, a newcomer, or two people who had been in a relationship for a long time. Cold rejection. Their findings suggest that when someone declines an invitation, they think the person who invited them will focus on the cold, hard rejection. But in reality, the person extending the invite is more likely to focus on the thoughts and deliberations that ran through the head of the person who declined it. They will tend to assume that the invitee gave due consideration to the protest to the prospect of accepting, and this generally leaves them late rather than might be expected. Interestingly, while their research examined invitations to fun events, dinners out to restaurants with a visiting celebrity chef, and trips to quickly museum exhibit. Other studies have found that the same patterns emerges when someone is asked to do a favor and they decline. Even with this less enjoyable request, people overestimate the negative implications of saying no. Decline the activity isn't reject the person. There are few things you can do to make things easier to yourself as you grapple with whether to decline an invitation first. Imagine that you were that one extending the invitation. Their research showed that people are less likely to overestimate the negative implications of declining an invitation after they envision how they would feel if someone turned down their invite. Second, if money is a reason you are considering passing on a dinner or a trip, share that with the person who invited you as long as you feel uncomfortable doing so. Of course, other research has found that people are especially understanding when people cite finances as their reason for declining. Third, consider the no but strategy that some therapists suggest. Decline the invitation but offer to do something else with the person who invited you. With this method, you are making it clear to the person who invited you that you are not rejecting them. Rather, you decline, you are declining the activity. A bonus with this strategy is that you have the opportunity to suggest doing something that you actually want to do. Of course, there is a caveat to all of this. If you decline every invitation sent your way, at some point they will probably stop coming. But assuming you are not a habitual naysayer, don't don't beat yourself up if you end up declining an invitation every now and then. Chances are that the person who invited you will be less bothered than you think. Julian Kiwi is Assistant Professor of Marketing, West Virginia University. Colin P. Kirk is Assistant Professor of Marketing, New York Institute of Technology. This commentary first appeared on the conversation, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Beautiful life.
You are listening to A Beautiful Life on EnglishOnline.rmutp.ac.th. We are back to the news. Rajamongkol University of Technology Pranakon attended the event and was ready to display Chalasin, Lifestyle of Siam, in the 22nd Higher Education Arts and Culture Fair or Chalasin Vithi Chiwin Tin Siam in งานศิลปะวัฒนธรรมอุดมศึกษา The 22nd Assistant Professor ศรัทธาแข่งเพ็ญแข Assistant Rector for Student Affairs along with Miss Malika Virasai Acting Director Student Development Division ราชมงคล University of Technology พระนคร lead a team of personnel for student activities. Student leaders and students attended the 22nd Higher Education Arts and Culture Fair. Dadat Arts Land of Siam or Dadat ศาสตร์ศิลป์แผ่นดินสยาม between 23rd to 26th February 2024 at นครราชสีมาราชภัฏ University นครราชสีมา Province with the honor of Miss Supamat Isara Pakdi, Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation, preside over the opening ceremony within the event. The Performing Arts Club, ราชมงคล University of Technology พระนคร brought the performance ชลาสิน Lifestyle of สยาม or ชลาสินวิถีชีวินถิ่นสยาม to join in the performance. This performance was inspired by the way of life of the Thai people, connected to the river, used it for living creative traditions and beautiful culture, molded into valuable art of the Siamese people. In this regard, the arts and culture of higher education hold to exchange knowledge and experiences, performances at each educational institute, and to encourage youth to become aware of performing arts and local wisdom, which is unique and has been passed down for a long time. The event included many arts and culture activities, such as cultural performance from higher education institutions across the country, along with cultural performances from universities in every region. More than 110 institutions across the country, cultural performances from 4 regions, and booth activities demonstrating the wisdom and craftsmanship of 4 regions. And the time is up for today, beautiful life. Please join us on every Monday here on englishonline.rmutp.ac.th. Your host has been Ajahn Kasem Puttaryangsi. You're welcome to subscribe to our channel, englishonline.rmutp.ac.th. Thank you very much for joining our program today and see you again next Monday. สวัสดีครับ
Beautiful Life will be back again next Monday.